Hello everybody, welcome to another video here at Abraham's Table Farm. It is the last day of July and we are in the thick of the season. This is the last part of the summer. It's one of the most difficult parts of the farm season, and it's the time when you're tired of doing everything, but the end and the relief and the joy of fall and the big harvests and the lessened workload has not yet kicked in. So it's the third quarter, the home stretch, and that's where we're at right now. So as you can see behind me, the garden is doing really well. There's a lot of things growing out there. We got a lot of things started early in the spring. Keeping up with them was the challenge this year. The team was a little smaller than usual, and we weren't able to get as much work done as we should have and would have liked to. And so here we are in late summer with a kind of bushy garden. Some things have slipped out of our control, and that can be demoralizing, but it also calls out to us as a challenge and is where we're at right now. So dealing with that and responding with that is what we're up against right now. I'll take the camera down there and look at some things. We have some successes. Our cucumbers are doing really well this year. They look healthy and happy, which they haven't looked that great in the last couple seasons. So we're excited for what we've done to turn them around. Growth is healthy in the garden. There's a lot of crops that are looking really good and are coming along quickly and growing well. It's just that the weeds are growing with them. Our mower's broken, so the grass around the garden is bushy. That's bad. Things set seed, weeds set seed and blow into the garden. So there are some rough edges right now, but overall there is a lot of growth and a lot of bushiness. And sometimes after a busy, tough summer, it's difficult to see that growth when it's lost among the weeds, but it is there, and we have a lot to be thankful for, and there's a lot of abundance coming in. So we are set up for a good fall with a lot of rejoicing and harvests, but we're not there yet. There's still a little bit of pushing before we can enter into that satisfaction that comes in the fall, that satisfaction of a job well done, and the lessening of the workload. The workload begins to diminish right now in August, but it gets significantly more in September. September is really when it starts to slow down and we start to have feasts and big harvests and more time to rest and relax and slower mornings and all that. So let's go down into the garden and see what's going on there. This year has been a great year for cauliflower and broccoli. We've had a pretty big continuous harvest of those things. You've probably seen it in the store and enjoyed it. That probably means that our fertility is up because the broccoli and cauliflower are heavy feeders, and so to have big abundant heads is a great thing. Here in the garden beds, you can see that there's a lot of weeds here in the pathways, kind of engulfing some of these things. Many beds we've been able to stay on top of and keep them clean, but there are some that are just getting sucked into the weeds. Carrots are doing well and coming in strong now. Basil is coming in strong. We've got dill heads here, which is great for picklers. If you're a pickler, let us know. We can get you some awesome, fresh, very pungent dill heads. Herbs are something that particularly respond to high fertility. It's the aromas and the flavors that are enhanced by healthy soil, and so our herbs show that. Here we've got some empty beds. This is where all the garlic was pulled out. We'll be turning those beds over pretty soon. And here we even have our fall crops in. That's tiny little fennel and more brassicas here. Lots of fall things already getting going. This week actually was the last planting, seed starting. We started our last crops this week. So we won't be starting any more seeds in the coming weeks. Whatever's started now is what's gonna carry us through to the end. But these are our cucumber tunnels, and you can see that the cucumber plants are inside these row cover nets. These keep the cucumber beetles off, but you can see they're poking out the top. They're huge now. And I will take down the sides real quick and let you see the plants underneath. Okay, so I opened up the end of this row cover, which we just have wrapped on either side of the plants and kind of sealed at this end. It's not a perfect seal, but it keeps out the majority of the bugs. And you can see that inside these plants are doing really well. They have huge leaves, much bigger than my hand down here. They're putting out 2 fruits per fruiting node, which indicates a pretty healthy plant. Usually they give out 1, and a low fertility plant will give out 1 every other node. But we're getting 2 on some of our fruiting nodes, and that's a great sign that our health and fertility is way up. We're not sure if we needed to cover them in this way, but because we've had them struggle the last couple of years, we wanted to do something, take some action on it and do something to prevent that from happening this year. So this was our plan, and looks like the plants are way better. So partially due to improved soil, but partially due to the protection, and especially the protection when the plants are young. Now that they're big, we are probably able to take these covers off, but we just haven't. They're still on there. They're still doing fine. The plants are all the way up to the rafters and tipping over the top and starting to come down again. And so that's pretty awesome. Lots of cucumbers. There's way more than we need and way more than we're selling. In the past, we've had to have multiple plantings of cucumbers in order to get through the season because they would die off and succumb to disease after several weeks. And so we'd always have a new planting coming on. But this year, these ones are doing so well, showing no sign of slowing down. They might be able to carry us all the way through an entire season if they're healthy enough and protected well enough. And that would be the goal, because then there's just less seeds to buy, less seed starting, less bed space occupied in the garden, less trellising to do, less transplanting to do. A lot of work is reduced if you can keep one planting healthy and fruiting for a long period of time. And we maybe are getting to that place now that one planting can do so much more for us and produce so much more fruit. That's generally what we're going for here in the garden, is to have plantings that are healthy enough that they give us more abundance for the same amount of work. And over time, the secret is just improving your soil. You can get that. We've got John Brenzel here working in the turning over beds. Tons of onions. These are starting to come in now. You've been having them in your shares, but a lot of these will be storage onions that will go into storage, and we'll be able to dole them out late into the fall. But you know, that's hundreds and hundreds of feet. There's 500 feet of onions right there. We've got potatoes that we're going to be digging, a little bit of potatoes, more onions here. Some last beds are getting flipped over. We're ripping things out. There's a few more things to go into the garden. We've started seeds in the last couple weeks in the greenhouse, and they'll be planted out. Like I said, no more starting things, but a few more things planted, and then we're totally done putting things into the garden. So a couple more beds to get ripped out. Gordon's here ripping out broccoli plants and cauliflower plants from these beds. Those will be ready for a fall planting. And I'll take you down to the winter squash, which is down there. So down here in the winter squash field, we've got a lot of plants. We actually loosened up the spacing this year. We felt like in last couple of years, the plants had struggled to ripen their fruit. And we think that that's because they were just a little too close together. We had kind of crammed them in. And so we're curious to see what's going to happen this year if the looser spacing actually allows more fruit to ripen than the tighter spacing with more plants. It's often the case that pushing the plants too hard results in a smaller harvest, even if you have more plants overall. So we're going to see how it goes. But so far, it looks like the plants are very healthy. They've got a lot of fruit on them. And when we haul in this harvest in early September, it'll be interesting to see how the volume is comparatively. It'll also impact storage life. Storage of the crops is affected by how healthy the fruits were and what their sugar content was when they went into storage, and so we'll see how it affects that. But yeah, a lot of plants down here, a lot of fruit ripening. You can see the flowers, the yellow flowers. If you look inside the plant, there are many flowers in here, all with bumblebees pollinating them. You probably can't hear it, but there's actually a hum of bumblebees down here. I don't know if you can hear it on the camera, but a lot of flowers being pollinated right now, and a lot of small little fruits starting to set. Last but not least, I wanted to give an update on pigs. You can see them back here, lounging in the brush. We finally have all of their paddocks set up. I've been slowly setting up new paddocks for them over the course of the first many weeks that they were here. But now we have an entire set of paddocks, and we'll just be rotating them through the paddocks and giving each of those paddocks a long period to rest and regrow. So they just came from this paddock over here, which you can see that they beat down pretty thoroughly. We left them in there maybe a little longer than I would have liked, but they knocked down almost all the vegetation, and that will slowly decompose and incorporate into the soil, and there will be a new flush of growth coming back long before they get back there. And they're actually in this paddock knocking things down, lounging, rooting up, eating roots and things, scratching on trees as well. And then this next paddock here ahead of them has a lot of bushy growth in it. And this paddock is the paddock that they started in. So you can see that this paddock has regrown a lot, and there's a lot of new annual growth here. They'll be going into this in, I don't know, 5 days or something, and start re-knocking this down. But it's that cycle of knocking everything down and then letting all of that regrow with a long rest period, and then knocking it down again, that animal impact that starts to really charge up the ground and get a lot of energy into the ground and rebuild the fertility. But you have to have that cycle of life and death, decay, life and death and decay to get the energy into the soil. So pigs are doing well. They're quite a bit bigger. They're growing very fast. We've had to make some adjustments to their waterers and to their fences and to some of the techniques that we're doing to move them from paddock to paddock. But that's part of the learning curve that we're doing with these pigs this year, just and figuring out a lot about their behavior and stuff. We know a lot in theory, and we've been to farms that raise pigs. We've seen it done, but we didn't have a whole lot of personal experience with pigs, so we wanted to do a small year before we do anything more. So you can see that they're pretty happy, pretty content. They trust us. Pigs are one of the harder animals to get to trust you, but they trust us, and they're happy and healthy and growing well. We're actually going to sell 2 of these pigs, so if you're interested in getting some pork that is raised outdoor, no chemicals or medications or anything, on a soy-free organic diet with plenty of fresh forage in their diet, let us know. 2 of these will be sold. The other 2 will be for us. We're gonna have a lot of sausage for next year. Our group, our crew, and our family go through a lot of food over the course of the season, so 2 of them will be for us. This guy. It's a good looking pig. Not quite grown yet. They'll stay here until September 20th. So they've still got about 2 months of growth. They'll get quite a bit bigger. They're eating a lot of feed now, every day. And camera tripods as well. They'll eat pretty much anything. Very curious. You probably can't see that, but that's the bottom of the tripod. He's curiously nosing. So yeah, they're doing well. The ground is responding well. They're knocking down a lot of saplings and brush in this area that was pretty jungly, and plenty of good stuff for them to move into in the next couple paddocks. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to place your orders in the store. We still have half, whole, quarter cows available. Like I said, we'll be selling 2 pigs this fall. All your bulk meat orders, which you usually place in the fall, can be placed now as we've got inventory rebuilt. And there's tons of stuff coming in from the garden. All the vegetables pretty much are ripening right now. So have some great feasts, invite some friends over, enjoy some awesome summer meals. Right now is the peak season. Everything is coming in now. So enjoy it. Place your orders. See you at the drop site. Thanks for watching.